Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Doug Grant, one of the partners at Insurance-Canada.ca. Welcome to another of our Technology in Action webinars. This one is entitled Insurance Fraud, Connecting People with Places and Their Activities. W3 Intelligence Research Group is one of our InsurTech Spotlight participants. Liz Pia, Senior Investigative Consultant, will discuss W3's story. For me, it is people who innovate, and technology is merely a tool. It enables. Technology may be underlying today's topic, but it was people who brought it to life. People use it, and it contributes to people's experience. As you know, innovators find opportunities to improve all aspects of the insurance business, from marketing through distribution, underwriting, claims, and reinsurance. Even the bad guys, it seems, are doing it. Beyond improvements to process and user experience, we are now seeing more innovation to the fundamental business of insurance. Think about marketplaces, ecosystems, embedded insurance, to name but a few. But central to each of these is a focus on the customer. In this presentation, we will look at the customer, but in a slightly different way than we normally would. Following Liz's presentation, there will be time for questions. Please enter your questions for her into the Q&A box. For any technical issues, please use chat. Give me a moment here. There are numerous trends in insurance. Some that I watch a little bit more closely include the increasing focus on risk management and loss prevention, a realization that data is indeed the new gold, increasing connectivity, in some cases even partnerships, across vertical ecosystems, continuous improvements in the user experience. The focus for today is primarily on claims. The most straightforward claim might well be a parametric one because no notice of loss is required and payment can be immediate. Today's presentation, featuring W3 IRG, is the other end of the spectrum with more complex claims and a probability of significant fraud. There are lots of trends. A question for you might be, how will you find advantage for your brand and all who represent it? Now, let me introduce our speaker from W3. Liz Pia brings 26 years of experience in many aspects of claims to her role as Senior Investigative Consultant, where she is focused on building an exceptional brand. She consults with insurance companies and any of the other stakeholders, especially for social media and open source investigations. For W3 cases, there is obviously a huge probability of fraud, and in some cases, organized crime, even human trafficking. I will now pause my screen and ask Liz to share and begin with her presentation. Go ahead, Liz, as soon as I stop sharing. There.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Bear with me. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Good to go.
I'm going to bear with me for a second. There we go. So thank you, Doug, for that introduction. It's important, and I thank also Insurance Canada for giving us this opportunity today to speak to the audience, and noting that it's a very diverse group that's attended the presentation today. We're going to be speaking on just how social media and open source investigations impacts claims handling. Historically, what I have seen is just throughout my career that high cost of debt and rising inflation has increased claims counts and payouts, and at times insurers have met with financial hardship due to the lack of handling to detect opportunistic claims and organized fraud schemes that may slip through the cracks. So this presentation will give an understanding of what we do at W3 Research Group, and how this type of investigation can be utilized to detect fraud, whether it's opportunistic or organized stage fraud. So W3 Intelligence Research Group is a private investigation firm. We service North America. Our company is based in Ontario. The founding and President Frank Catruzzola, really an expert in open source investigations. He noted a large intelligence gap in the private investigative industry, and with many years of investigative and surveillance experience in combating insurance fraud, he launched W3 Intelligence Research Group in 2016 with the premise of not only utilizing surface and deep level web investigations to fill the intelligence void, but doing so in a manner that contains all reporting text, photos, videos, and supporting citations embedded into a PDF document that is court ready for the insurance client. We're also staffed by designated experts in the field. I'm just going to add to what Doug has outlined based on my experience. I actually wanted to get into law enforcement, and then I moved into the insurance world right after college, and started in 1989 for State Farm Insurance, and worked there in the bodily injury and the accident benefit team for 5 years. Then I moved on to CAA Insurance for approximately 18 years, where I had the opportunity to work in the accident benefit, more catastrophic type of injuries, as well as running the dispute litigation management team and building the SIU team as well. From there, I went to TD Insurance, working as their national operations manager in their legal services area. And not only did we have oversight for special investigations, but also quality and governance, and including a large team across Canada for legal services. We also audited not only internal counsel, but also external. I started working with W3 Intelligence Research Group in 2017 as their senior investigative consultant. I complete all the analysis of the investigation once the investigation has been completed. Super proud to announce that W3 Intelligence Research Group has been awarded the Corporate Vision's 2023 Canadian Business Award. It's Best in Social Media and Open Source Investigations. So having over 35 years of experience with the following designations, we specialize exclusively in social media and open source intelligence, investigations to include social network analysis. I won't get into the social network analysis at this time. We can always consult after, but due to the limited time we have today, I'll just focus on open source and social media investigations. Our investigative licensing, coupled with professional cyber designations, offer independent testimony that establish authority and expertise should a claim proceed to litigation or tribunal. We primarily work with insurance companies and their defense legal, and we see an immense amount of intelligence within our investigations. We strongly recommend that this type of investigation be utilized so that claims professionals and defense counsel are not at risk of being exposed. And we can all be tempted to go online to check the internet to find claimant information, but we highly caution that. So this type of investigation allows for maximum results and allows SIU, claims, professionals, and legal to focus on claim-related and investigative and legal tasks that they deal with daily. Our methodologies prevent subjects from detecting an active investigation. We manage the assignment, investigate, provide a robust report with the entire chain of custody and recommendations. Our affiliations with key organizations offer our staff up-to-date information on investigative processes. As well, it has extended our team exposure to a vast network to draw upon the development of new concepts in support of bringing cutting-edge solutions to the insurance industry. Our team is dedicated in making a positive change within the insurance industry. We have a depth of understanding, not only on the investigative side, but also on the insurance side, and how an investigation will impact the decision-making process within claims and impact claimants who look to insurers for protection and assistance. So while I was working in insurance and legal, this type of investigation was not offered. This is why we continue to share our knowledge and our strategies with the industry to minimize claim payouts from those who are committing opportunistic or organized staged fraud, but most importantly, to protect the innocent policyholders with their legitimate claims. We've had numerous discussions with various law enforcement and government agencies to bring awareness to a community of experts that are not familiar with insurance and how insurers are dealing with current issues at this time. So collaboration is absolutely necessary between the private and the public sectors. So whatever line of business it is that you are involved with, whether it be on the brokerage side or on the claims side or the investigation side, SIU specifically, know that the significant amount of intelligence can be found in open source. So with using social media applications, open sources, deep and dark web, various geofencing technologies, we cross-reference the claim data to examine a cross-section of public-facing information in order to locate and establish any connectivity between people, businesses of interest, and other vital intelligence, to include physical activity level, their travel history, excursions they may participate in, fitness challenges, volunteer work, and so much more, because the information or the footprint has been left in open source. Our open source investigations is intelligence that is produced from publicly available information. It's collected, analyzed, and disseminated in a timely manner for the insurance company and their counsel on record to defend any actions and possible subrogation. The intelligence is harvested for what is required for an investigation and what is relevant. Importantly, open source is not limited just to what you can find using the major search engines, web pages, and other resources that can be found using Google, Bing, and Yahoo certainly constitute massive sources of open source information, but they are far from the only sources. So much of the content of the deep web can be considered open source because it's readily available to the public, but having the expertise to locate information is crucial. So through our investigations, we are finding numerous claimants are taking advantage of the institutional gaps. Open source investigations will allow our investigators to analyze intelligence, to prioritize next steps in the investigation, which could possibly impact the insurer. Social media searches can be used to verify existence of people, their identity, whether it's real or false personal information known as synthetic identity, their employment or possible businesses, determine if there's a criminal or civil litigation history, and get an understanding of possible networks that may identify information that contradicts the information that is provided to your organization. Social media and open source investigation optimizes provided information into quality intelligence. With this type of investigation, it will empower the claims professional in their decision-making process and allow legal to properly defend the action. So if it's in open source, we will locate it. And at times we will locate other persons of interest or businesses, as I mentioned, that have not been disclosed. Many, many times we are seeing that businesses are not being disclosed. So in numerous cases, we typically find information unknown to the client. We locate alias profiles, cross-reference areas where persons of interest have attended with areas of investigative interest. We prove timelines and verify locations globally. We scrutinize e-commerce and forums for items of interest specific to the claimant and the business they may own. I'm going to go through a couple of case studies. And this one here was a bodily injury claim. And what I see is insurance fraud costs each and every one of us as consumers. So for instance, opportunistic or stage fraud can involve unsuspecting drivers or involve professionals who legally represent or medically treat individuals who have submitted a fraudulent or embellished claim. At times, the practitioners and representatives may be involved as well. And oftentimes, these claims are paid in good faith by the insurance company, but an experienced claims professional, they will identify the red flags and commence an investigation. So each case will vary. In this particular case, it was confirmed a head injury, soft tissue injury at the time of loss. Claimant had extensive online presence with multiple usernames. The timing to harvest was extremely important. Extensive videos, posts, commentary, highlight reels were harvested. The claimant was in the midst of relocating across Canada, so that whole entire journey was actually captured. Some of the activities included videos of the claimant hiking, use of her fitness app, parties and concerts she attended. And what was key to the investigation was her skydiving, her video in which she uploaded. The intelligence revealed continuity of activity for years post-loss and prior to the examination for discovery. Opportunistic fraud is seen in many cases, many of our investigations. This injury claim had extensive amount of photos, commentary, and videos. Over 130 videos were downloaded and harvested for the client to include the chain of custody. This claimant continued to work. He promoted his business. The intelligence spanned over years of family excursions at various locations within the province, videos captured at family events, barbecues, restaurants, and clubs. Noted fitness app use as well, and extracurricular activities. Overall, this claimant was extremely active and had an extensive amount of social media presence, to include a video of the claimant water skiing. And that can be a pretty strenuous activity. Significant evidence was harvested with full recommendations. We always suggest that if the claim is, or the dispute is ongoing, that periodic OSINT investigation be conducted. And if necessary, covert surveillance can be properly set up with the information harvested. So finding the association to potential organized crime enterprises is crucial in developing sourced intelligence, either through open sources or social media platforms. The preliminary searches will identify connectivity, legitimate names to alias names, addresses, businesses, phone numbers, email addresses, and that's just the start. So there is no doubt that these criminals see themselves as being ahead of the game. They have their hands in many illicit activities, and as their critical enabler to market oftentimes their drug activity. So the critical issues that we're facing as a society is, I think it's fair to say that unless a court system has a holistic understanding of the surmountable crime that is taking place, and it could be various things, gun trafficking, human trafficking, insurance crime, or any other auto theft, that in order to determine as I mentioned, the surmountable crime, we must be ahead of the crime. And especially because these criminals are being released once arrested. So all in all, how I see it converging is that the more data available triggers a potential investigation, merging our investigative data, what is seen in open source, with our investigative analysis. This type of investigation can significantly assist you in fighting insurance crime. We must evolve with intelligence harvesting and employ the essential analysis of illicit actors that continuously circumvent the system. Insurers have the data, we just need to investigate it. I wanted to review just real quick before we come to a close, how my experience with collaborating with law enforcement and not-for-profits such as Abuse Hurts and Victim Services has given me a significant awareness that human trafficking actually intersects with insurance cases. So when working in insurance, a specific case my team handled was similar to this image you see on the slide. A two-car collision. They were worm pickers, a van carrying approximately 7 passengers. An in-home assessment triggered red flags. that alluded to human trafficking. Numerous attempts to evade statements, a representative that spoke on behalf of the claimant, not a family member. They were acquaintance to the claimant. So nationally, insurers need to leverage the platform, consolidate the intelligence for successful prosecution and sentencing. Open source will identify threat finance and its associated networks. The insurance community must collaborate and employ all the necessary skill sets to include open source investigations to dismantle, disrupt, deter illicit networks while countering transnational organized crime. In my past experience with assigning covert surveillance, historically, it rarely leads us to actionable intelligence. Sitting on a property may not yield any activity, but knowing various business and residential addresses, including activity and timeline, I think is key to being strategic, especially knowing there are numerous addresses that we're locating, and it may or may not require covert surveillance. But with safety protocols that W3 implements, the subject is never aware of the open source and social media investigation. The collection is evidence. The collection of evidence is actually relevant. And on the majority of the investigations, we significantly increase our opportunity to obtain actionable evidence. All evidence comes already authenticated, which is very key for court purposes, with a chain of custody and a complete court ready with quicker turnaround times in production with this type of investigation. And of course, OSINT investigators hold professional designations. So strategically handling the results from the investigations will allow a claims professional to decide timing of the independent medical, how defense may have specific questions for their defense medical. Defense legal will preserve social media evidence before it's deleted in its entirety, which we have seen. This intelligence will allow you to request specific evidence to support preparation of affidavit of documents, preparing for examination under oath, or productions in tribunal or litigation. W3 Intelligence Research Group will harvest the information, in turn produces an evidence-based report with chain of custody and will present it to the claims professional within the insurance company. And then in turn, they can give it to legal. And after all, it is the bottom line that matters, because OSINT investigations will impact costs, claim, and legal management. So coming to a close, and thank you for staying on, how I see this type of investigation, it will impact the insurance industry exponentially. With an economic downturn, utilizing this type of investigation will enhance the expertise of your claims team. I've seen that from the past. And allowing your insurance corporation to capitalize on technology and expertise to identify patterns of fraud and ultimately prevent unscrupulous and criminal activity. Risk management becomes an integral part of claims management. And what matters most is that insurance claims professionals play a vital role in service by helping policyholders navigate the claims process when the loss occurs, especially legitimate ones. We are available to discuss further. We couldn't get cram in everything today. We would love to show you our reporting, our sample reporting, as well as social network analysis. So feel free to connect with me as well via email. And also, if you're on LinkedIn, please connect if we are not already connected, to build a community of experts. Doug.
Thank you so much, Liz. That was great. What an assessment, an overview of the whole crime, fraud, investigation, open source, instinct kind of environment. So thank you for that. Just one of the things, and I don't think that you touched on that through the course, when an assignment comes to you, someone's going to obviously want to know roughly what the cost might be. Did you? Didn't hear you. I may have missed it. I don't think so. Is there something you can just comment around the cost situation?
Sure. Yeah, definitely a lot more inexpensive than the traditional type of surveillance. We come in on average at about $2,500. It just depends on how active the individual or the claimant is online. Sometimes we see little information on the platforms, but we obtain key intelligence to support the claim, and that may be extremely less. It could be under $1,000. But we do budget with the claims professional or defense legal and estimate a cost of the report. Some files go because of the quantity of information online. We always consult prior to incurring any investigation costs.
Okay. So when an assignment does come your way,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm assuming here that your team of experts probably have a bunch of different specializations. How do you go about the assignment process for a particular investigation?
Oh, we can provide the audience with a link to log on. Also, we have our website too, but yes, we can definitely share the link. And it is a secured management portal that's encrypted as well. So I just want to identify that as well, that it does require a multi-factor authentication for enhanced security of delivery of our digital reports. So once the report is once the assignment is received, then we consult with the claims professional or legal on the cost, and then we provide them with a report. But we also do the walkthroughs too, especially for first-time users, because our reports not only are consist of the narratives and the attachments, it also consists of the chain of custody too. So we take the time to do that as well. And everything is in PDF format.
Gotcha. Just out of curiosity, what is the average or minimum, maximum kind of duration of an investigation? Like, does it go for months or?
No, actually, it's we strive to report within 5 to 10 business days. Yeah, we're doing really well.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose everything's at your fingertips. There's not too much travel involved.
There's no additional expenses at all, Doug.
Gotcha. Super. I don't have any more questions, so I think unless you have a comment you'd like to throw in at this point.
I'm open to if there's anyone that is interested in a presentation for their teams. We are hosting interactive presentations as well. So feel free to connect with me via email, and we would be more than happy to have a session with your team members.
Great. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me then just make a few comments here at the end. We are drawing to that point in the event. Thank you very much, Liz, for sharing the information that you have today. I've learned more than I think I had ever known before about what happens in the depths of these spaces in terms of bringing evidence together and presenting it in a way that will help the insurance organizations make their cases. Of course, underneath this, there's interesting how technology is changing insurance. I mean, that's a global thing. But I guess here it's a case of leveraging the same technology that the bad guys are using to find out what they're doing. So it's quite a little bit different situation with this particular use of technology than most of our webinars have been. So thank you very much for contributing that. And thank you to you folks in the audience as well. I hope you've taken away some information that will help you understand a little bit better what's here and maybe take advantage of some of the potential. We will send a note tomorrow probably about the recording from this event so that you can look at any of it again if you wish to, or share it with others if that's appropriate. And of course, we do welcome any comments back about our webinars. So if you felt this was out of line the way it was promoted or what the content was, I would certainly appreciate any comments that you have or any ideas for more, although we have several in the offing. Our next one, in fact, will be from an MGA InsurTech startup, and that's planned for about 3 weeks. Right at the moment, it's scheduled, will be scheduled for Thursday, the 22nd of June, but in the morning at 11 Eastern time. The turmoil around the world, as we all know, who read social media, or even more so, I guess, the good news continues. So there's stuff going on all over the place. And please be part of the solution do what's needed to keep yourself and, of course, others around you and around the world for that matter, safe and healthy. I wish each of you a good day and a good finale to the spring season. Once again, thank you so much for presenting today, Liz.
Thank you so
And
much, Doug. And
on
for
that
the
note, then, that concludes today's webinar. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye now.